The city looked normal from a distance: streets, buildings, flickering streetlights, everything exactly the way it had been before the collapse. But silence hung over it like a warning. No traffic, no voices, no life. Daniel moved carefully between abandoned cars, his boots crunching softly over broken glass. He kept his flashlight low, sweeping it slowly across the dark street. The radio on his backpack crackled with static, the only sound reminding him he wasn't completely alone in the world. 3 months earlier, the outbreak had started with rumors, strange illnesses, people collapsing in hospitals. Then the videos began appearing online, people attacking each other, biting, tearing. At first, the authorities called it panic, then they called it a virus. By the time the truth was clear, it was already too late. So Daniel stopped outside a small grocery store. The front door was shattered, shelves visible inside through the darkness. Food meant survival, and survival meant risk. He stepped inside. The smell hit him instantly. Rotting food mixed with something far worse. His flashlight beams slid across empty aisles, scattered cans, dried blood on the tiles. Someone had been here before him. Maybe survivors, maybe something else. He moved deeper into the store, grabbing a few cans and stuffing them into his bag. Then he heard it, a slow, dragging sound. Daniel froze. The sound came again, from the back of the store. His grip tightened around the knife in his hand. He slowly turned the flashlight toward the storage room door. The beam revealed claw marks along the wall, fresh ones. The dragging sound grew louder. Something was moving in the darkness. Daniel took a step back, heart pounding. Every survivor knew the rule. If you hear them before you see them, you're already in danger. The storage door creaked open. A figure stumbled out. At first it looked human, torn clothes, pale skin, head hanging slightly forward, and then it lifted its face. The eyes were gone, just dark, hollow sockets. The mouth hung open, unnaturally wide, teeth stained black with dried blood. The creature twitched, then suddenly sprinted toward him. Daniel ran. He burst out of the store and slammed the door behind him, knocking over a shelf to block the entrance. The creature slammed against the glass with horrifying strength, snarling, clawing, trying to break through. Daniel didn't stop running. He ran through the empty street until his lungs burned and his legs trembled. Finally, he ducked into an alley and collapsed against a wall, breathing hard. For a moment, there was silence again. Then the radio on his backpack crackled. A voice, weak, faint, but human. If anyone can hear this, there are survivors north side of the river. We found something. Something about the virus. Daniel grabbed the radio. What did you find? He asked urgently. Static filled the channel. Then the voice returned, trembling. They're changing. Daniel frowned. What do you mean, changing? The answer came slowly, like the speaker was afraid to say it. They're learning. Daniel's blood ran cold, because far away, somewhere in the city, a long, echoing howl rose into the night. And this time, it didn't sound mindless. It sounded like a signal. The howl echoed across the empty city, long and haunting, bouncing off broken buildings and shattered windows. Daniel held the radio tightly, staring into the darkness of the alley. His breathing slowed, but the fear inside him only grew heavier. They're learning. Those words kept repeating in his mind. For months, survivors had believed the infected were nothing more than mindless predators, creatures driven only by hunger, slow, stupid, predictable. But learning, that changed everything. Daniel stood up slowly and looked toward the distant skyline. Somewhere beyond those silent streets, survivors were waiting, and apparently, someone had discovered something about the virus. He lifted the radio again. Tell me where you are, he said into the static. I can help. For a few seconds, there was nothing but crackling interference. Then the voice returned. Old hospital, North Bridge, basement entrance. The signal suddenly cut out. Daniel lowered the radio, thinking. Hospitals were the worst places after the outbreak. When the virus first spread, infected patients had overwhelmed every medical center in the country. Thousands of bodies trapped in one place when the chaos began, which meant thousands of infected now wandering those halls. Daniel exhaled slowly, but if there was even a chance someone had found answers about the virus, it was worth the risk. He stepped out of the alley and began moving toward the northern part of the city. The night felt different now. The streets were no longer just empty. They felt watched. A cold wind moved through the buildings, carrying distant sounds with it. Somewhere far away, metal scraped against concrete. A window shattered. Then silence returned. Daniel crossed an abandoned intersection and approached the bridge leading toward the hospital district. Halfway across, he stopped. Something was wrong. Usually infected wandered randomly, appearing suddenly from buildings or side streets. But now the bridge ahead looked strangely clear. Too clear. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Learning," he whispered. Suddenly a shape moved in the shadows beneath the bridge. Then another, and another. Figures slowly emerged from the darkness below, climbing onto the road from both sides of the bridge. Their movements were stiff but deliberate, almost coordinated. Daniel's heart dropped. They weren't wandering, they were waiting. One of them stepped forward into the dim moonlight, its head tilted slightly, studying him, studying. Then the creature let out a short, sharp screech. Instantly, the others began moving, not stumbling, running. Daniel turned and sprinted back across the bridge as dozens of infected burst from the darkness behind him. Their footsteps echoed like thunder across the concrete. He dove through a broken barricade at the end of the bridge and slammed a rusted gate shut behind him, locking it with a chain. The infected crashed against it seconds later, snarling, clawing, their hollow eyes fixed on him, but they didn't keep attacking. Instead, they slowly backed away, as if they had already gotten what they wanted. Daniel stood there breathing hard, confusion spreading across his face. Then the realization hit him like ice water. They weren't trying to kill him. They were hurting him, pushing him somewhere, toward the hospital, toward whatever was waiting inside.